What's up, everyone? Welcome to the first episode of the Quest for Valhalla Paranormal podcast. I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you that follow Quest for Valhalla Paranormal on YouTube, and you watch my journeys as I go around Northern California and try to find answers to the paranormal. Try to investigate historical sites and, well, do what I do, what I do, what I love. So welcome in. This episode might suck, FYI. It's the first time I've ever done one on video, but that's fine. We live and learn, right? So I wanted to take this time to kind of share with you, because first episodes, you kind of want to set the tone for the show, right? Wanted to take this opportunity to kind of explain to y'all why I got into paranormal research, at least. Call it research. I'm no researcher. I don't have a doctorate degree in research. So, but what has me excited about the paranormal is it's really a personal, comes down to the personal level of things, right? It brings me kind of like a sense of hope, and it helps me feel a little bit more connected with history, communities I grew up in. So there's a lot you can learn from history, right, as they say. But we don't actually do. But I'm also representing for all you Shoresy fans out there. Can't wait for season 3. It's gonna be a good one. Nice little plug in there, huh? Anyway, I say a lot when I don't know what I'm gonna say. Pretty shitty. Excuse me. So I want to start with, because I like to view things scientifically, because I'm a skeptic believer. So I don't believe that everything I hear and see is of paranormal nature. So it is important for me to try to explain something. What could have caused that sound, or what could cause that voice, so on and so forth, right? It's very important for me to look at it subjectively and not through the lens of, oh, this is definitely haunted, or this is that, this is this. We get tied into, we get caught up in, it's really hot in this room. This is my son's room, by the way. He's more spoiled than I am. I'm kidding. I'm very spoiled. My wife takes really good care of me. So, it's important to, not go into, if you want to do this stuff, not by any means like super seasoned now, but if you go into it, it's not like TV shows. Not going to see it. It was like my 40th time at a cemetery till I saw my first apparition, and it was like a mist. It wasn't like Hollywood. I mean, nothing's like Hollywood. We get so conditioned to think that everything's like Hollywood. Fucking, it's ridiculous. And I do curse in this show. I get, oh well, I mean, who doesn't cuss, right? So who gives a shit? When I cuss in my videos on YouTube, that's when I'm excited. Like, there's no way. I just heard that. Pretty cool. So I've never caught it on film, especially the mist, but I went back a few days later, and that was in the Coloma Pioneer Cemetery up in Gold Country. And the lady that runs the museum also sometimes does the cemetery tours, or knows a lot about them. And that has been witnessed before. So that was really cool to experience something that other people experience and substantiate that that was real. You know what I mean? So anyway, I got into loving the paranormal because I grew up in the mountains and I remember the first time I saw Harry and the Hendersons, the Bigfoot movie. That movie I wanted to be friends with Bigfoot, man. Like he seemed like I was like that it wasn't even scary. I mean, I was probably 5 or 6 when it came out. I don't even remember what year it came out. I don't have like a research guy or nothing chilling here. This is a low budget indie podcast, so I'll have to excuse how crappy it is. Yeah, I seriously I wanted to be best friends with Bigfoot. So I mean I lived in Pacific Northwest. It's like Bigfoot country. Doesn't get any better than that. And from that point on, I was like hooked on. I didn't know it was paranormal. I didn't even know that was a term. I just like I liked ghosts. There was creepy stuff that always happened around there, and I love Bigfoot. But now that things have progressed in Hollywood and movies and paranormal has become huge, we're trying to explain the unexplained, the things that we see. And the paranormal category is not just ghosts. I mean, it covers anything that's unexplained more than normal, paranormal, right? Um, so but predominantly my YouTube channel is looking for ghosts because if I want to try to, I mean, I don't live very far from Humboldt County. That's the second biggest Bigfoot sighting, and that's where the original sighting happened. That video in what was it, the 1970s, 60s? I don't know, long time ago, where everybody thought it was an ape suit guy in an ape suit. You're looking back, it's like, wow, yeah, it does look like a guy in a gorilla suit. But some of the things I've seen recently with drone footage makes you wonder. So anyway, as I look at the paranormal as subjectively from a scientific point of view, it can either for me, it strengthens my beliefs spiritually, and for others, it could drive you away or drive them towards something different. And I met someone like that yesterday. I somehow got roped into talking about the Bible, all this stuff, and um, I just someone's calling me during my podcast. It's not cool. I I don't mind someone having like a really strong faith, especially Christians. That's great. I love it. So there's some great people out there. I'm not Christian, but for you to tell me like it just a straight up in my bold face, not even batting an eye, that what I believe in is wrong because of his faith, that I have a problem with. Right? If you want to tell me, hey, I think it's cool what you're doing, but I think this, I believe, I feel like, kind of like use I statements, but to come straight out and say, you're playing with fire. All you do are talk to demons. The only way is through Jesus. And it doesn't matter because only 144,000 people were saved, anyways. What kind of life is that? Jeez, man. But because I'm too nice, right? I sat there and listened to the spiel and I was like, cool, man. I just wanted to know about the paranormal activity in this cemetery. Didn't want to know about your beliefs on the afterlife. So, but if you're if you're like that and you support my channel, trust me, I support you. I'm not dogging anybody's faith at all. I love it. I think it's great because there's a million ways to look at something, you know? Everybody doesn't need to look at everything the same way because then I mean, we all think the same way. We're just nothing but mindless sheep. So, looking at this subjectively, and, I always go to actual research conducted. And as I looked up scholarly articles, so those are some peer reviewed articles in respect people respected in the industry of research, whether they're like this particular person, the it doesn't say their it doesn't say. But this is God, I can't even speak, man. I'm live. This is published through the NCBI. It's a government website that publishes research findings and articles. So it's a great source. I mean, question anything about it, but it says, because I wondered, when did this all start? When did we start calling ourselves paranormal researchers or whatever you want to call it, ghost hunters, right? Is it more when the shows started showing up? Right? We wanted to be Zach Bagans, which I don't know if I could work with Zach. He's a strong A-type personality. I could definitely work with Nick Groff. And if you watch this, Nick, you're ever out in Cali, hit me up, man. Especially some of these places that you've already been to. But I could work with him because I feel like him and I have the same view on the paranormal, and the way that he's not, he doesn't try to own the team. No dig on Zach. I mean, he built a good show and he entertains. He does his thing, but I'm very tangible as well. So there's one of them. So anyway, according to this research article, it says paranormal beliefs and cognitive function, it's systematic review and assessment of study quality across 4 decades of research. So this is a systematic review. So it reviews a catalog, a group, a bunch of different research studies that have already been conducted, and then you know it kind of rank them and use a formula to say the results produced X Y Z or whatever. 4 decades, 40 years of research. It's not a lot if you think about it. It used to just be like ghost stories or folklore, or like imagine what it was like back, like, let's say, like, the early 1900s in Salem, Massachusetts, right? Where the famous witch hunts were back in colonial times. Imagine what they thought about it then versus when it started to settle down after, right? When the country started expanding, the Industrial Revolution, and we started believing in different things and moving away from, well, at least culturally, like, what did they think of the paranormal then? Was it just, I mean, what are they? "Oh, my house is haunted," or they thought somebody was a witch because they talked about, "Oh, this is going on in my house." Or there's, like, poltergeist activity, right? Things flying off the shelf, things doing this, whatever. And they're like, "Oh, no, no, that's the work of the devil. They're a witch. Burn them, right? No, crazy. Had nothing to do with the actual individual, but it went against, at the time, social belief systems. So I'm very, very glad that I that I live in the we live at the time we do now because I'm literally sitting here doing a podcast on a Tuesday talking about paranormal activity. Like, doesn't get any better than that. Hopefully, this doesn't get me in trouble, but this is really good. Mm, loaded with caffeine. So moving forward, this article it says research into paranormal beliefs, cognitive functioning has expanded considerably since the last review almost 30 years ago, prompting the need for a comprehensive review. Current systematic review aims to identify the reported associations between paranormal beliefs and cognitive functioning and to assess study quality. Ooh, I like that. So basically, the method is they searched four databases for research studies: Scopus, Science Direct, SpringerLink, and OpenGray for from inception, sorry, until so whenever inception was. That's weird. It doesn't give the date. Until May of 2021. Inclusion criteria comprise papers published in English that contain original data assessing paranormal beliefs and cognitive functioning in healthy adult samples. Study quality and risk of bias was associated. Okay, so they had some strict criteria of piecing together their review, right? They weren't going to do anything where they had to translate it or was conducted in other countries other than English speaking countries. It doesn't say just America. 'Cause paranormal happens everywhere. But looks like they identified 475 studies, but only 71 of them met their criteria to be reviewed. So they were very selective. So the idea behind this is what does this believing in the paranormal, what does it do to your brain physiologically? Right? That's what they're trying to find out. What studies have showed proven that if you believe in the unexplained or paranormal activities or whatever unexplainable Sasquatch or UFOs, whatever, what does it do to your brain versus somebody who doesn't? And I don't know if the conclusion, although the study quality is good, areas of methodological weakness exists in addressing these issues. Yeah. We propose that the authors engage with pre-registration of data collection. Okay. Whoa, look how they define this is how they define what the term paranormal means. Is a phenomena, sorry, such as psychokinesis, that'd be rad. Hauntings, clair clairvoyance clairvoyance, sorry, which contradict the basic limiting principles of current scientific understanding. Ooh, that was a great definition, actually, man. Made my feet tingle. Oh my god. Okay, so let's go down to so the review was conducted within the systematic meta-analysis. Systematic review was pre-registered at Open Scientific Framework, OSF. That's a good place to go. If you want to dive deeper into research. Also assessing the relationship between paranormal beliefs and schizotyp wow. Schizotypal personality traits. They compared it to known mental health disorders. So if you check this out, dude, check this shit out. So if somebody says you're crazy, for believing in ghosts and shit? According to this study, you are. I guess I'm crazy. 'Cause I'd rather believe in the unexplained than be able to explain everything. What's the point, man? I don't mean to be boring y'all to death, but this stuff, I gotta set up the story. So hang out with me, man. Don't give up. Don't give up yet. Give up on Redbeard. Okay. So let's dive a little deeper here. Figure it out. The results identified 902 papers, of which 475 were unique. Most articles were excluded from the review following title and as abstract screening. If you screen just because of the abstract, you're just you're an asshole. I'll be because I'm an asshole and that's what I do. It's like cheating and reading the back of the book. I'm just gonna skim the abstract, see if this is even worth my time. Somebody put all that time in to write a 15-page paper or whatever amount. You dismiss it. I'm so guilty. Okay. I'm gonna skip over a lot of this mumbo jumbo shit so I don't lose half my audience. All studies scored positively for items concerning clear objectives. Okay, so they're talking. Let's get into the meat and the potatoes, man. Said. I'm just gonna go to the conclusion. Fuck it. Cognitive functioning. Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. The 71 studies were grouped into 6 sections: perceptual and cognitive biases, reasoning, intelligence, critical thinking, and academic performance, thinking style. Wow. Thinking style? The hell is that? Executive function and other cognitive functions. Well, let's just be vague as hell in the last subcategory. And possible categories were classified according to focus identified by the authors in each of the studies, blah, blah, yada, 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 yada. Articles presented the first second. Come on, man. You're just filling this full of nothing. 19 articles. I want to know, like, what benefit? Two studies assessed perceptual decision making related to faces within degraded and artifact stimuli, using black and gray images of faces and non faces, scrambled eyes, mouth, nose configurations. Okay, so they're explaining the matrixing effect. Like when you look at something, you look at a cloud, right? It could just be a puffy white cloud, but you look at that cloud and you see a turtle, right? And then your friend, girlfriend, brother, sister, whatever next to you looks at it and sees a hamster. That is your brain being able to, unless you were able to describe it to where their brain could matrix the same way. I feel this is their perceptual cognitive biases that they're referring to. So, and I've done that. I've done that at night where I thought I saw a shadow figure or a face or a photograph. We're like, oh, dude, look, you can totally see that face, but it just happens to, how can we differentiate between paranormal and our brains being affected by perceptual and cognitive biases? Matrixing. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You still with me? Wake up, man. God. Study. Nope. Nope. Not reading that. Not reading that. Bunch of bullshit. Summary. Reasoning. 17 papers that focus on reasoning ability. Oh, so yeah, okay. Relationship with paranormal beliefs and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, no, that's not It's not what I'm looking for. Um, Probabilistic reasoning ability has been consistently associated with paranormal beliefs across 5 studies. Dude, I am sorry I'm doing this to you. I'm just gonna, yeah, okay. So the fact that this is being looked at even by people in the scientific research community, or in this case, mental health, mental functioning, neuroscience, cognitive science, all these kinds of things. It's pretty cool in my opinion because it's such a big following, the paranormal, that it's enough to warrant this. I mean, one person could write this and submit it, but this is not the only article that's out there, right? And maybe I'm experiencing, maybe it enhances my I believe, okay. Okay, time out. First of all, let me read their conclusion, and then I'll move on to my tangible response. So our systematic review identified 71 studies spanning perceptual, yeah, okay, yada yada. We already did that. In particular, we recommend future studies. We hope that these methodological recommendations, alongside with fluid executive theory, will help to further progress our understanding of the relationship between. So they wrote this entire study and got jack shit out of it, is basically what they're saying. Cool. Thanks for wasting my time as well as your time. Here, I'll break down how it helps me. Like I said earlier, when I go out to a site, because I do research sites before I go. Well, the last Gold Hill was spontaneous because I don't know, I'll get into that in another episode. But I research a site and I think, hey, is this worth? Would people watch this? Right? And am I interested in it? So it's got to be two things going on here, right? Is it worth my time? And do you guys even care? And if I can say yes to both of those, then I go. And I do a little research, a little bit of history, and then I go in blind, kind of. I don't know anybody that's in there, and minus Coloma because it's so it Coloma literally is the reason why California is a state. I mean, it might have been at some point, but it blew up the way it did was because of the gold rush. You think I'm wrong? Just read a history book. So anywho, I know for a fact that when I go out and I can investigate a location, open minded, without my pressing views socially, or I guess my cognitive reasoning of why something's happening there, it allows me to be more open minded about what is going on there and what happens to me. Because I've been to the Pioneer Cemetery in Coloma on 4 occasions that are on film. Been there a couple times without. Every time I go there, it's a different feel. It's a different experience. The different things happen to me. There's no way that I could ever really get prepared to experience the same thing. Like the 3rd time I went, I actually had a conversation on the Spirit Box with someone, right? And then the last time I went, there was nothing. They were afraid of my 360 cam. They were like, "What's that device, dude?" You should check that. It's funny. They're like that device, which I love that 360 cam, but I suck with it. I'm gonna get better because it has so much more potential with its editing and ability. I wanted it to be able to scan. I wish that it could lock onto things, like like security cams do, where they see motion and then they lock in and they start tracking. You could do that with it, but that's after the fact. I wish live you could track, because if it's on me and then something comes near me, it can zoom in live, but otherwise you have to sit there and go through the video and look for something and then click the track and then zoom in, it zooms in and shit. So I suck at that. I told you I'm a low budget indie company here, man. Okay. Doing my best. So we are at the half hour mark. I'm gonna switch gears a little bit, finish what I was gonna say, and then um hopefully y'all are still with me because I can go on forever. But yeah, I go into each place a certain way. And I don't go in there with, oh, this has gotta be paranormal. It's gotta be real. Like Gold Hill, I looked on the internet and people said on Reddit, I think, that they heard a ghost cat and they see orbs and shit. And if you watch the video, some guy, I don't know, on my short said, I don't hear a cat. Well, when I do the shorts, obviously it's my reaction, but you hear the noise in the video. So if you watch the video, you can hear it slightly. But when I was out there with my own ears, I could hear a cat moaning. And that's when I went look. I mean, it's the middle of the day. Like there could be cats anywhere, but normally cats are nocturnal. And also, when you watch the show, you probably think, oh, is he too afraid to do things at night? No, I'm not. The thing is we live in an age now where over the over the last 10, 15, 20, I don't know, 30 years, these new generations or my generation had a bunch of shithead kids, right? And then they go out and they like to trash cemeteries at night instead of going out and looking for the paranormal or just trying to be scared. They want to go destroy. I mean, not to say my generation didn't do stuff like that, but growing up in the foothills and in some of the higher elevations, we had those cemeteries, and we would go and be like, dude, I bet you, $10 or whatever. It was a lot of money back then, but which I didn't have. I always bet with money I didn't have. Oh, I bet you can't go in there and spend 10 minutes in the graveyard or whatever. Let's go into in my hometown. There's a old train station that's supposedly haunted that they were renovating. They run out of money, and then I don't know. They claim it's haunted. Might be something worth going into someday. So yeah, I'll talk about it on another show. There were out in Lincoln, there was a Manzanita cemetery. Some dudes got wasted and did over $1.5 million, 1,000. Ugh, my God, I just went full stupid on y'all. They damaged headstones from the 1800s, and the damage alone was over $1.6 million to repair. All for what? Yeah, I don't know. So because of these stupid younger kid generations, and I'm old now, so I can say that. And I close my eyes like a smug asshole when I say it. Yeah, yeah. We can't just easily go and investigate somewhere at night. There's a lot of hoops you got to jump through. Either you got to be some successful big show like on Discovery or Amazon, like Nick, that's exciting. Um, yeah, you have to be big time or you have to break the law. And I'm not going to do that because I'm too old for that shit. So most of the time I have to go during public hours. And also it kind of made me, hey, let's test that theory, because I have the research mindset, right? The skeptic's mindset. Still believe, but I'm not sure. Does it happen during the day or at night? Can you still see the things you can experience at night during the day? That's so it's kind of a cool, good thing because out in California here, they're very conservative when it comes to preserving history and protecting historical sites. So that I respect, hands down. But hopefully, if I get some notoriety, might be able to get into some places, start uh, networking, and you know, I for sure want to be able to help people because we get a lot of uh, we get a lot of people that experience paranormal activity in their homes in this entire region, and people just think they're crazy, which according to that study we are. So if you believe it, but I would love to be able to help people go into their house and find the evidence and be like, no, we can't. I can't explain this. Kind of how Ghost Hunter started out. They started out as like a house call group. They were plumbers first, which is awesome. But yeah, I love this stuff, man, and I wanna help people too. That oh, the noises you're hearing are your old ass house settling. It's not a ghost or whatever. Or yeah, you got some creepy shit going on here. Let's talk about ways we can help with that. And another episode would be how can we help with that? Because sometimes you can't. But according to some, they're all just demons. They mimic everybody that's ever lived, which doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. Sorry. Yeah, it goes back to my cognitive reasoning, right? My critical thinking. I don't think like normal people. So I fit that group there. So I want to shift some gears here, put it in granddaddy low. Let's go. I want to talk about one of my favorite experiences so far. Um, and then, I'll do more episodes so you can come back and watch and listen worldwide. So I got the opportunity to go out to the Preston Castle, which if you live in California or you're a ghost adventures fanatic, which I was up until recently. They were able to investigate it early in their show's history when Nick was still on the show. And they actually got to go inside because at the time it wasn't as protected as it is now, which is a good thing because I'll tell you that place they don't make places like that anymore. And being a history nerd and loving everything about it, it we have to. If it wasn't for the the Preston Castle organization and or the foundation, I'm sorry, and what they've been doing to protect it and preserve it, man, that thing would have fallen down and just been forgotten or torn down. But anyway, it's out in I think it's like 30 something miles east of Sacramento, and it's out in Ione, California. And if you ever been out there, there ain't shit out there, and that's what I like about it. Right there's another correctional facility that they replaced Preston with. But back in the day, man, when you were a troublemaker or you you weren't part a good the good part of society, they put you out and you weren't ever seen or heard from until you were rehabilitated or dead. You were just gone, right? Like those old prison farms, right? In the South, just gone. Out of societies, mental hospital or asylums, state hospitals, which there is one. I'm waiting for that to shut down. The Napa State Hospital. Okay, quick tangent story right here, right? When I was 20, I started working in the funeral industry. I was a mortician, right? I picked people up, I helped on embalmings, I cremated, I helped with burials, I did all of that shit, right? And dude, I got the opportunity a couple years in. I did that for a while. Couple years in, and I got to go to Napa, California, wine country, right? There's the Napa State Hospital for the criminally insane. And I picked up some convicted murderer that died of cancer. I got to go in that building in their morgue. Like if you're a paranormal freak like us, if you're watching this show, you would have had a field day in there. And there's another hospital here in downtown Sacramento, Sutter Memorial Hospital, right? Their morgue, you have to take it's something out of like a horror movie, dude. Hollywood ruined everything for everybody. But you take this, you go in this back door, right? And don't laugh. That's not funny. You go through the back entrance. You you go on this rickety freight elevator that feels like it's gonna break, right? It's like the ones you see in the movies, in the like New York lofts, right? Like, and you go down to the bottom, and it's like, and you lift this giant, metal door that splits in half, and then you have a tunnel system that's all dark, and old there's old medical equipment from like the 70s down in there. Old hospital beds that probably thousands of people have died in are just pushed up against the side because the people then they're lazy. And you have to walk down this little maze to get to the morgue, and you go in there, and that's where they do their biopsies and their autopsies. And the whole time I'm like, dude, am I gonna get jumped down here? It was I wish I could explore that one more, but I I have a ton of those stories. Maybe for another episode. Anyways, back to Preston Castle. So last month I got to go out there, and or earlier this month though. Yeah, it was last month. It's one of my first real big chances to check out a site. And when you go there, if you do go there, um, please be respectful to the staff, to anyone that works there, and to the site itself. It's surrounded by I I don't know the history on some of the buildings outside of it, but there's the housing area, right? That reminds me of military housing. You have the base and everything that goes on, and then housing's kind of on the outskirts. It's like that. It's down below the castle itself, and there's a bunch of old housing units that are just abandoned and boarded up. So please don't go out there and do any stupid shit. Um, but if you want to go out and admire it like I did, do your own little investigation. Power to you. But they have cameras everywhere, so don't think you can hop the fence because there's also razor wire. I'll repeat that. There's a razor wire. It will cut you, even if you put a blanket over it. It's not worth it, man. Just be respectful. Go on one of their tours. Support the foundation. You can buy personal tours. You can, there's tons of stuff you could do to help, and that's what we want to do. We want to help. And what drew me to this location was not just that it was on Ghost Adventures, right? And I live close to it, was because it just if you look at it, like Google it, Preston Castle Ione, California. It's almost this 1900s gothic asylum, something you would like. It would be like a modern day Dracula. I don't know, dude. It's just awesome. You think it's a murder mansion, right? And in some cases, it was. There's an inmate that was murdered trying to escape. Well, I don't know if you call him, still call him murder, but he was killed trying to escape. Guard shot him. And then there was a woman, Anna Corbin, who I tried to contact while I was there. She was brutally murdered in the basement. And they don't know who did it still to this day. And then, I mean, that happened in 1950. So I don't know. I don't think it really mattered at this point, but it would be nice to probably for her to have closure, you know? And then there was a teacher that was teaching, an instructor teaching welding because it's not really called Preston Castle. It's the, um, uh, shit, what do they call it? God, oh yeah, Preston School of Industry. Sorry. Had a stupid moment there. So youth, it was a great thought. Um, juvenile offenders would be sent there and you'd be taught life skills, discipline. It was very militaristically structured to where you had a routine, a regimented routine, and you got up every day, made your bunk, showed up to this. There's physical training, whatever. It was very paramilitary, which is great. Kids need that nowadays. And then they taught you life skills, butchering animals. I mean, we don't really butcher things now, but uh, they grew their own food. They butchered their own animals. They repaired stuff around the facility. So it was a really good idea. And California does have some of those programs now, but they're not the same. So anyway, um, back in 1890, give a little backstory. 1890, the state purchased the land around Preston School of Industry from a coal and steel company, because out there there's a lot of quarries, there's, mining operations, you name it. And so they were able to get a sweet deal on it, and then they built the castle, and it really withstood the test of time, the ingenuity of building it, which is pretty cool. But when I was there, you see if you watch the video, I was stopped a few times. I had to turn the camera off because there were workers coming in and out. I didn't want to interrupt or anything or film people. It's public. It's actually private property now, but I didn't want to. Whatever. I know it's my First Amendment right, but I'm still not a dick. Okay, so I stopped filming, and the guy stopped. He's like, "Hey, how's it going?" And yeah, good, man. Do you work here, like for the foundation? And he's like, "No, I'm actually one of the contractors." And he was the coolest guy ever. Told me like back in the '70s, the state came in and because the roof used to be made of slate, which is a form, it's a stone, and I mean, I don't know what the state did with the slate. But they took it, and then building started to collapse from the inside. I mean, just totally wrecked it. Way to go, state of California. And so now they're rebuilding the deck around it. They're, because they do a lot of holiday stuff there, especially coming up October, 31 days of Halloween. That's what I'm talking about. I'm gonna be doing something. Be doing something. Better watch. Yeah. So he just explained how, you know, That's why it's the way it is. It's pretty much condemned because, like, you go in there and the 3rd and 2nd floor and they're just falling in on themselves, and I don't know if it's the goal to fully renovate it, but or just preserve it into a state where people could still go inside and it not be as dangerous. That might be the wiser choice because I'm sure they're working on strictly donations and selling from the Halloween attraction side of it, but that's only once a year, or 31 days out of the year. Then you have other weirdos like me that would go there any time of year. So it helps. Coolest part of when I showed up to check the site out was just driving up and feeling. I mean, it's a presence. As soon as you crest a hill coming into Ione, you see it. You see the guard tower just towering. I mean, it's a tower. And there's like condors or turkey vultures up there just chilling. And it's, there's probably thousands of birds chilling there. And it's eerie. It's everything you love if you love the paranormal. And so I just started with walking around where I could, and right out of the gate, somebody came through the spirit box and said my name, and turned out it sounded my mom confirmed it sounded just like my uncle who just passed away that the weekend before I went and investigated. So how can you explain that? You know? Some demon is posing as my uncle who I haven't talked to in almost 20 years. I don't know, man. That doesn't sound right to me. But it wasn't the only experience I had. I was able to really communicate with some intelligent spirits there, beings, whatever they were. And I can't wait to go back. I really can't wait to go back. Like I said, they have so many cameras. Don't I mean I I would love to reach out to somebody there and see if I can just hang out on the outside at night, but there's a liability sake too, right? So I don't want to. Again, I'm doing this the most professional way, most respectful way our community. Because if you're listening to this entire show, that means you're part of the paranormal community. You're not just in it for the jump scares and then you're moving on. You truly care about, hey, can I actually hear the voices of people from the past and possibly someone I knew? And it gives me some kind of peace of mind knowing that there's something beyond this life. I think that's important, right? So, anyways, just wind up this show. I'm gonna keep these two uh, about an hour, maybe a little bit more, a little less. But I really implore any of you to get out there and do your own thing, man. But don't be gullible. Don't believe everything you see and read. See it. Try to see it for yourself. Me seeing that shadow, that white mist at the graveyard when it was already 90 degrees outside, and there was no smoke. There's no other scientific explanation to how I could see a white mist. That image is embroidered into my mind. And it wasn't scary. It was the coolest thing I ever seen. And having a conversation with somebody there. Hearing that cat. I actually had a real cat come up to me. If you watch the Georgetown video, this red and white cat just came out of nowhere and started chilling with me, man. Who's the coolest? I named him Garfield. Check that episode out, man. Paranormal Kitty. It wasn't like I thought, like he was gonna be able to see spirits and shit. Some animals do. This one just didn't give a shit about anything, man. He was a honey badger. He was out in a graveyard trying to kill lizards and just living his best life. And that's how I would want to be. Not afraid of shit, you know? Anyway, I'm excited to do this and get back out there. And if any of y'all can give me some suggestions, I want to expand from just ghostly paranormal stuff to other things. Bigfoot would be cool. We have Mothman and Wolfman, or not Wolfman, Dogman, they call him. There's been sightings since the 60s here around this area. So, I mean, why not? Go look for a werewolf, dude. I would love to be a werewolf. Are you kidding me? I'm hairy enough to be one already. So. But anyway, thank y'all so much for watching. Do me a favor, subscribe, tell your friends. I'm not in this to get big and famous or whatever, YouTube famous. I'm in this to build a community of like-minded people that will support each other, and we can keep investigating, keep pushing the limits of what we're able to accomplish and see. And, you know, if I ever get lucky to have a big time person like Nick Groff hit me up, dude, you guarantee I'll be there. And I'm like you, I hear a noise, I'm like, let's go check that shit out. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Love y'all. See you next time.